caregiver for my wife, Anita.
I mean, a parent is already a caregiver.
And the caregiver part is kind of increased quite a bit.
You know, you're not taking on a new role to be a caregiver to a child with cancer. You're just taking on a heck of a lot more than you ever signed on when you signed on to become a parent.
It basically says, you know, you're there to support another person.
One of the things that I find interesting is that if you ask a question to a person who's had cancer, who was diagnosed with cancer, when do you consider yourself a survivor? Generally, the answer is from the day you get that diagnosis and you're living, you're a survivor. But ask a caregiver, how do you feel the day your husband or your wife or your child or your loved one gets cancer? And I feel that that's the day I got cancer, and I'm not necessarily allowed to survive because I don't have cancer. So I'm not a survivor, I'm a caregiver. That's the day I become a caregiver. Cancer came into my life as well. And you know, I think that that's something that caregivers, that's a burden that they have to shoulder.
Generically, you're saying you did have cancer because you're closely associated with somebody that is or does, right?
Right,
Which is different than whether it's your body, it's still part of your family, your group.
It's 17 years, and I still can see a definite divide in what our family was like prior to cancer and what everything is after cancer. It affected all four of us in unique and different ways, and we are different people than we would have been if Andrew had not had leukemia.
It really is about the family unit, you all together, and not just your son as the patient, as the cancer patient. You just
family
identified yourself as that patient as well. So let's take a minute to talk about the feelings you had. Explain to me what that was like.
I felt guilty about being angry. I got really, really, really angry that we were having to go through this. Mm-hmm. Why did it happen to our family? Why were we dealing with this? Why was my son's life disrupted completely? Why my older son's life disrupted completely? Why was Dan and I's relationship changing? Mm-hmm. And so I felt guilty for being angry, especially after the fact. Our child survived. We're one of the lucky ones. But I'm angry, and I'm feeling guilty because I'm angry and I'm upset, and I feel like we lost something. We have our child, but we did lose something. We lost our security. We lost our sense of what our family was. We had to find a new identity.
It would be nice to let caregivers know in advance, you know, it's a rocky road. I always say it's a roller coaster. It goes up and down, you know, things are good, then they're not so good, and that you're going to give yourself permission to feel really, really sad, whatever your emotions are. But I know I did have just like, why am I dwelling on me, I think is how it was.
How you feel is your reality. You can't change somebody's reality. I mean, you might disagree with them, but you know what they feel, that's real to them.
A friend of mine is a sociologist, and she kept saying, Sharon, you know, like there's so much that you're going through right now. Seek professional help. And when she was, you know, asking me to do that, it was while he was so sick that I couldn't leave his side. And I thought, what if I went out and for 2 hours talked to someone else professionally and came home and he was really in trouble or not around anymore, and I would feel so bad if I were to have left him at that time to indulge in my needs. And so it's a real tricky thing.
That's where the guilt comes in.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I think too, at the time they're at their lowest, sometimes, you know, you're at your strongest because you recognize what's happening. And then it's after the fact where your body suddenly goes, oh my God, what has happened here?
I know for me, a lot of those feelings didn't come out until after Skip had finished his treatment, after 2 years, had the port taken out. And then it was like things were calming down, I was back to work, and then it was like it hit me over the head, whoa, that was a tough time. And I, for the first time, was really feeling those emotions that I didn't want, maybe I didn't want to really approach when I was in the middle of taking care of Skip, but it hit pretty hard.
As a caregiver, when it's finally safe to relax, that's when you can actually acknowledge what you're feeling and what you've been, and be scared and be able to hit your bottom, because it's safe to hit bottom then, shall we say.
Isn't it interesting? We all had the same thing without knowing it was a natural way to deal with the situation. Because I felt so badly at the time that I was feeling bad. Like, who am I to feel bad? I don't have cancer. And I didn't have to go through the chemo and having the port put in and all that it entails. So it's a relief to know that this is a natural process, and to allow yourself to say, it's okay to really feel scared. Just allow those emotions for yourself.